Hello guys, Ashley here from R&S Entertainment to give you the complete history of the Faceless Men and the free city of Braavos. This history video will focus entirely on the mythos and lore from the A Song of Ice and Fire book saga and not the show's portrayal of Braavos. In this series, the Faceless Men are referenced throughout the Seven Kingdoms before Arya even steps foot in Braavos. The earliest direct mentioning of the Faceless Men comes from a comment Littlefinger makes while on the Small Council when petitioned by Robert Baratheon to hire a Faceless Man assassin to kill the then 13-year-old Daenerys Targaryen over in Essos, to which Littlefinger replied, "Do you have any idea how costly they are? You could hire an army of common sellswords for half the price, and that's for a merchant. I don't dare think what they might ask for a princess." The Faceless Men of Braavos are considered the best assassins guild in the known world, regarded for their efficiency and notorious for their steep prices when contracts are arranged. The most prominent of the Faceless Men in the saga is Jaqen H'ghar, the mysterious Lorathi criminal who grants Arya Stark 3 kills during their time in Harrenhal. From there we get awesome things like Weasel Soup and later on Jaqen's kill in Old Town at the beginning of A Feast for Crows. The Faceless Men are called such due to their worship of the many-faced god, whom they serve and is integral to understanding their humble origins. The many-faced god religion has its roots in the ancient slave mines of Old Valyria, where the slaves will oft call out to the same god of deliverance just in different incantations, and so it was from there that the many-faced god took on the qualities of a deity with many faces. All throughout the known world, the many-faced god is regarded just with different titles. In Yi-Ti, he is called the Lion of Night. In Qohor, he is called the Black Goat, and most notably, under the Faith of the Seven, he is called the Stranger. The religion embraces the inevitability of death and relishes in the mercy that accompanies it, and so the first of the Faceless Men was said to deliver the gift to the most desperate slaves in the mine, and soon from there, the masters. But by the time of the Doom, the followers had already taken refuge in the free city of Braavos, which I'll focus on later on in the video. The guild reconvenes at the aptly named House of Black and White, which sits atop a rocky knoll in the thick fog off the city mainland and is devoid of windows. The weirwood entrance doors are described to be 12 feet high and in contrasting colors. The left is white and made of weirwood, while the right is black and made of ebony. In the center rests a moon face with both colors converged into one. Followers inside the temple wear robes of black and white, and their duties include tending to the dead, most notably curing the faces of the dead who come to seek the gift from the fountain. In the main room, there are 30 statues of different gods of death, worshipped by the various other religions, including the Stranger over in Westeros. Followers who come seeking the gift take black cups and have them refilled with poison to provide them a quick and painless death. No services are performed in the temple, as the intentions of those seeking out the house are quite obvious. From there, the faces are cured and hung in a labyrinthine display hall on the 3rd floor. The faces are then used by the Faceless Men in a glamour-style ritual to assume the physical appearance of the person while carrying out assassination contracts. Faceless Men assassins can skillfully change faces at will. In the case of Jaqen H'ghar, we see it done as easily as gliding a hand over the face. As previously mentioned, the Faceless Men directly serve the god of death by agreeing to kill anyone in the world for a steep price, which includes anything from monetary value to even one's own child, the value of which is always determined by the intended target. In order to carry out their perfect crimes, these Faceless Men are trained in a variety of stealth techniques to always make the murders appear like accidents. The Faceless Men are also very precise in their skills. Sloppy work is virtually unheard of, as their high price tags come from their reputation for clean, efficient kills. Anyone who strays from killing only the intended target is punished, as one is never to rob the many-faced god of a life. An integral part of the Faceless Men's philosophy and creed is the ability to truly become no one. The idea of becoming no one is vital to carrying out merciless kills in the name of the many-faced god. So those who serve have a very optimistic outlook on death. Eschewing their identities also helps aid their performance when they don their new faces while completing contracts. We see this when Arya is playing the lying game with the Waif, which is one of the ways in which the Faceless Men can become essentially clean slates and totally immerse themselves into becoming anyone at will. We see this concept of becoming no one in Arya's POV chapters when she's instructed by the kindly man to shed her past and truly become no one by renouncing her life as Arya Stark of Winterfell and devoting herself wholly to serving the many-faced god. This is ultimately easier said than done, with Arya failing to give up Needle, her last symbol of hope and home. But it also goes to show how devoted the Faceless Men are to serving. Valadares, all men must serve. The humble origins of the Faceless Men are rooted in the founding of Braavos itself. While still slaves in Valyria, it was the most exhausted among them who took matters into their own hands. It was upon a slaver ship bound for a colony in Sothorios from Valyria where slaves seized control of their destinies and turned their sails as far away from the grasp of the Valyrian freehold. It is said that the escaped slaves were told by a group of women known to history as the Moon Singers to make way for Braavos, a lagoon thousands of leagues away and hidden beneath a wall of hills and fog. Braavos was founded in secret by the escaped slaves, and the first law among the newly freed people was a vow to forbid slavery, and is even engraved on the arch which spans across the long canal. Braavos remained a secret for a century, and 2 more centuries would pass before the exact location was made known to the world. In order to keep the location under wraps, the early founders would utilize the dye of a local snail and tint their stolen Valyrian ship sails purple. They would forge documents and lie about their destinations and ports as well. It wasn't until Sea Lord Uthero Zeline's decision to have an unmasking ceremony for Braavos that the world would truly get a glimpse of the unique free city. During the 111th festival to celebrate the founding of the city, Braavos revealed itself, and due to years of consistent growth in isolation, soon became the richest of all the free cities. Each year, the unmasking of Braavos is celebrated throughout the city and comprises of 10 days of revelry, a celebration of liberty, with denizens lifting their masks off simultaneously at midnight on the 10th day as the Titan of Braavos roars. Speaking of the Titan of Braavos, it is more than just a symbol of overcoming slavery and fortitude. It is a mighty fortress, capable of destroying any enemies meaning to attack the city. As it is the first line of defense and attack, murder holes with arrow slits run rampant throughout the interior, and any intruding fleets passing underneath the Titan risk having hot pitch and oil poured down from in between the Titan's legs. Each night, the eyes of the Titan are lit ablaze for returning ships passing through the lagoon. Each time ships pass by, the Titan lets out a roar to warn the nearby arsenal where the warships are buoyed. The arsenal is arguably the lifeblood of Braavos. The dock is where the infamous Braavosi war galleys are constructed in as little as a day. The arsenal hosts a fleet of warships, and should any enemies slip past the Titan, they wouldn't have to go far before they're surrounded by a mighty naval fleet. Hidden still under the surface, though, is another, more uncanny line of defense, the Iron Bank of Braavos. The wealthiest free city in Essos wouldn't have become such without the backing of the Iron Bank, which flourished in the century before the unmasking. The Iron Bank grew in might from lending money to foreign banks, and it grew notorious from always getting their due. The Iron Bank, along with Braavos itself, rose to prominence as trading continued while still in isolation. The discovery of a sea snail with the same dye properties which helped Tyrosh economically helped the founders in that they could properly hide their Valyrian sails, as the deep purple dye proved vital to their burgeoning trade industry. The purple sails of Braavosi ships are renowned throughout the known world, even in the present. While the exact origins of the founding of the Iron Bank have been kept in secret, it is known that 16 men and 7 women took it upon themselves to hide away their valuables in an abandoned subterranean iron mine. As their valuables began to accrue, the original 23 decided on ways to properly utilize their growing wealth, and so the Iron Bank was established. Only the original 23 were permitted keys to the iron mines and set the precedent of secrecy and a wariness of outsiders. During the unmasking, it was the Iron Bank's heedfulness to pay back the grandchildren of the Valyrian freehold slavers for the cost of the ships stolen, without accounting for the cost of the slaves, of course. This keen eye to fiscal matters has helped the Iron Bank grow into the wealthiest in the world. When kingdoms need loans to support armies, they go to the Iron Bank. And if that kingdom cannot pay the Iron Bank back, the Iron Bank will back that kingdom's enemies to defeat them, and then they'll be the ones responsible for paying back any debt. Any and all debt owed to the Iron Bank passes on through the generations. The point is, the Iron Bank will always find a way to have its due, as is their saying. A notable example of the Iron Bank turning to back a debtor's enemy is when the Iron Banker Tycho Nestoris backs Stannis after he agrees to cover the crown's debt to the Iron Bank, should he be successful in taking the Iron Throne. Braavos has also been shaped by its irregular geography, perfectly tucked away, surrounded by a chain of 100 islands. The sea helped make Braavos, as trade is their chief asset. A free city founded off the ideals of liberty for all flourished in secret when exposed to the world due to a perfect harmony of riches and a free and happy people. In addition to slavery being outlawed, religious freedom is observed, with all gods recognized. There are many temples throughout Braavos, but the biggest of which is that of the faith of the Moon Singers, who are said to have helped guide the escaped slaves from Valyria. The ruler of Braavos is referred to as a Sea Lord. Once he is voted in by magisters and key holders, he serves for life, with the Sea Lord's palace located on the northeast peninsula. It is there where the best of Braavos go to practice the water dance by the moon pool, with their slender blades allowing them swift sword skills and a flair for the dramatic. The many-faced god and Braavos are linked hand in hand. The religious freedom of Braavos, mixed with its core founding principles, make it a veritable melting pot, brimming with progressive politics and a free-thinking people that have helped the free city continue to grow in might. The influence of Braavos and the Faceless Men reached throughout the known world. The humble origins of a city hidden in a foggy lagoon and the bizarre religion tied to its origins have always been a point of interest for many A Song of Ice and Fire fans. Personally, I love the Faceless Men. Dakin is one of my favorite characters and he's awesome. I think the idea of a medieval assassin skill that changes faces at wills for a divine purpose is brilliant, and due to George R. R. Martin's writing, it was all brought to life beautifully. So what would you guys like to see in the future of Game of Thrones, A Song of Ice and Fire history videos? Let us know in the comment section below, and if you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and also subscribe to the channel. Also, make sure you follow RNS on Twitter at Roman_RNS and my Twitter at Geeks and Cleats. We also do a weekly podcast covering topics from both Game of Thrones and A Song of Ice and Fire called The Long Night Podcast that can be found on the channel as well.